I'm standing next to my wife's 2016 Jeep Wrangler JKU. If you've seen a couple of my last videos or the playlist on this thing, we just went over 100,000 miles and all the problems started to happen. We've also got a pretty massive oil leak. It leaves drips in the driveway overnight, so in the morning there's wet drips in the driveway. It rained pretty heavily yesterday, so you can't see them now. And then it's all over the engine and it goes to the back of the vehicle almost. It also looks like a rear main seal, but it is not the rear main seal. So I looked up a lot of information on why do these look like they're leaking. First I looked up, hey, do rear main seals leak on this? Is that common? That everyone really said no. And then I decided to look at other things, and it did give me a lead, and I already bought the part. So we're going to jump in and diagnose it, but I'm going to use a new tool to show you how I can make it easier for you to diagnose it, and also show off this new tool I just got. So I just got a fancy new Borescope. This is the Tesla TD 450S Borescope, and as you can see on the box, it does come in a pretty nice box. In a nice case, we have the articulating head, which is awesome. I've got two other Borescopes, one really cheap one I bought that doesn't have this, and one from my phone. They both are about as small diameter as possible, but this is the same size, so this isn't any larger than the other two I had, which I thought it might be, but it's not. So I can get it everywhere the other two are. And then this has some pretty cool features. The on the side here, it has a USB-C to charge, and then it's got a micro SD card. And you can, with the M button, you can switch it between video and photo. So it'll take pictures with this trigger back here. It does have a light, and that light is adjustable, dimmable through the light switch. You can zoom in with the zoom button, which is pretty cool. And then obviously it has photo and video, and if you pull the trigger, this trigger back here, it will take a picture or record a video, but also if you long press it, it does have a side camera. So it's got a camera in front and it's got a camera on the side, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just simply long press the photo video button there and you'll see what this Borescope does. And then got a few settings here for resolution, date stamp, shutter sound. So automatic shutdown, language setting, temperature unit, time date format. So all kinds of stuff. This thing does some really cool stuff. But let me set up here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this to diagnose this Jeep. If you're familiar with these Pentastars, then you already know what the problem probably is. But I'd had to do some researching, and what they said was it was down here. There is an oil cooler that runs the length of the intake valley, and it's underneath the intake, and all of this up here needs to come out so that we can pull that out and replace it, because they're plastic and stuff happens to them. So as you can see, there's some pretty good oil down there. So that oil down in the valley there, tells you that this is what's leaking. So this Borescope does a great job of getting down in there and letting see. But we're going to start tearing into this thing. Drain the oil first. So here's what the oil cooler looks like. I'll put the price here, but this comes, bought this one on Amazon. Comes with the plenum gaskets and these bolts right here. And 5 of these bolts that are like the E10 style, and then so you've got some sensor back here, protected and shipping. Looks like another sensor there. And then this is where the oil filter goes. So we'll check that out, make sure we're good. Start turning into this thing. this bracket here, I'll try to show you from the front. This goes down and there's 2 bolts down here. This one in the front is easy to get to with just a ratchet and a 13 millimeter deep well. The other one you can get down here with the wrench. And the trick is, don't take them out. Just loosen them. I'll show you here. Just loosen them enough that this bracket clears the 2 studs. So there's 2 10 millimeter studs, so that'll allow you to lift this whole thing off. And you don't have to keep track of those bolts or worry about dropping them because they're off of there now. But we've got some more things here. I got to switching back and forth with this ladder. Got to look like another vacuum hose that is not going to cooperate at all. 0% cooperation. Now it should just be these 8 millimeter bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. There's a 9th one back there. It looks like it's going to be tough to get to. Is that it? So these 2 idiot brackets on both sides are the hardest, stupidest part. This one has 2 bolts that are buried down here. They feel like 10 millimeters. And I'm only going to be able to get to them, I think, with a 1/4 inch. And this might be, yeah, back to the toolbox to get a deep well 10. Why not? Yeah. This is not the first time I've been in this. The last time I did a fuel injector. So I haven't been this deep though, but yeah. Let's take these bolts off that are idiots. All right, well, same trick. It's the other side. Just loosen the bolts and pry this back some. And then I think we should be able to just get this out of here. All these hoses are in the way. Every one of these hoses is just in the way. This stupid thing. There we go. Got it. So I need a Torx because these fuel rails have to come out. Of course they do. Got a T30. Hopefully it's T30. It is. It is T30, but I think I'm gonna not do that. I think I'm just gonna try and pull the. I think if I pull this fuel line up here. Red clips. you kidding me? You just snapped off my baby. My goal was to pull the fuel rail off so that I could set the harness aside, but when it pulled off, all of my fuel injectors decided that they were going to stay in the car, because why would they not? And then all the O-rings fell off. Why? Because I can't get the connectors to come off. Because Dodge, that's why. All right, now let's try to get this thing off. We've got, it looks like a 10 millimeter reverse star bolt. So looks like that. And 3 here, 2 back there. I did look in the new housing and it does have a oil filter in it. So that's good. But this is a coolant line. Pinch off the coolant line so we don't spill anything. Actually, I think it's gonna be easier to take these. Again, we got these red clips. So that one actually came off. Well, here's the difference. Old versus new. Plastic versus all aluminum. So, yeah. This thing is leaking. I don't know where, but probably under these O-rings. But, yeah, it's got a lot of nastiness in there. This one comes with new O-rings. So we should take care of itself pretty nicely. Yep. Put a little bit of lube on these, well, this O-ring here. Put them in. Clean this thing out first. And a fluid extractor would have been better, but I don't have a good one for this. Oh yeah. I'll come back when this is all clean. All right, well, there we go. Basically a full roll of paper towels and half a can of brake clean. And we're looking good. Those knock sensors down there were completely submerged. So it holds a lot of oil. I did lube up that little spout thing, hose, whatever it is. So 25 foot-pounds is what AI told me. Oh, there's no way. That's too tight. Well, let me tell you that AI is stupid sometimes. I knew this was too much, but I trusted my instincts. So it's 106 inch-pounds, and you start with this one, then you go to this one, then you come to this one. I'm sorry, this one, and this one, and this one. So it's kind of like this farthest, the closest one to you, and then the farthest one from that. All right, 25 pounds was ridiculous. Let's see where 106 inch-pounds gets us. Right there. All right, well, off camera, I got to basically do this job again because as I was putting one of these blue O-rings on the fuel injector, it fell right down in there in the deepest part of the cavern. So I had to take it back apart, fish it out of there, so I didn't have to drive to the parts store. Literally disintegrated as I tried to grab it, so let's just hope it continues to disintegrate down in that cylinder. Guess we'll see this one in this together. Yeah, Doc is definitely wrong again. This is 106 foot-pounds. This bracket right here runs along here. So it's got 2 bolts that go into the plenum there and 2 bolts back there. Those bolts are extremely difficult to get to. I used basically This is a wobble extension, and the universal joint, so little snap-on universal joint. That actually got down in there. Do not loosen them all the way. You can back them off. They're a little tough to get to, but you can get them, loosen them up, and then you can move that bracket enough to just pull that out of the way. You don't have to pull these two bolts out for the AC lines or these coolant lines. You don't got to pull those out. This can move around. This is already broken off. Like I said, half this plastic stuff is already broken off. And then over here, these are easy to get to from this side. One with the ratchet. Again, same kind of thing. 2 bolts down there. One for the forward one. So it's the opposite. The forward one's harder to get to on that side. The rear one's easier. Forward one here is easier to get to. The rear one, if you reach down there with the ratcheting wrench, it's actually pretty easy. So loosen it up enough to get the bracket free enough that you can just push it by and lift it up. And then everything else was, man, don't listen to Grok. Grok is not right. Just Google it. Google told you the specs. 106, 106, and then 89. And then the specs are on, or if you Google them, you'll find the specs. So the biggest problem was these, just the fuel rail and fuel and fuel injectors. They were just a pain in the rear end. They didn't cooperate. So whatever, I got them. Well, I think you saw what I had to do there. Pull the fuel rail off, and then they kind of stayed, kind of didn't. But make sure you clean them up. This thing's notorious for fuel injectors. This, if I had more money and time, this is a perfect time when you got this all apart to just change the coils. This side you can get to easily, normal, but this side, coils, plugs, this is a perfect time. So if you got the money, throw some Amazon coils and plugs in this. And fuel injectors, you can buy a whole kit, set of 6 for pretty cheap as well. Just do it. You'll be happy. Not gonna hurt anything. But like I said, this already has an oil filter in it. I'm gonna just finish putting these last few bolts together and then go get some oil, fill it up. But yeah, I use engine assembly lube. That's what's up there to lube those O-rings so that those, they only go one way. So you got to make sure they're clocked right, those fuel injectors. So it was up in the back and I got it clocked right and it went right down. But that's it. Here's the aftermath. They were all smushed down and smashed and flattened. So it was time anyway. 100,000 miles is a good time to do it. But I was happy about this Borescope. It helped. What I didn't show because I was really mad and all the cuss words when I dropped the O-ring down in here. I put it back down there and saw it down in that oil. So this guy helped me out quite a bit because I could not see down in there. But I was able to get that down in there and see the O-ring. I didn't record it. I was so mad. But yeah, it's helpful. If you got one of these, it will help you. Like I said, if it's leaking like this, you can see it a little bit down in the pan, but if you get that down in there, you can see quite a bit of oil, and then you'll know that this thing leaks, and all the ones on Amazon are aluminum, so they are supposed to be better than the plastic. I guess we'll see, but yeah, I put this thing back together, go get some oil. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I don't have anything planned for this in the future, so catch you on the next one that's not this Jeep.